Trump's expected to declare a national emergency to kick off his mass deportation program once he takes office. What does that mean, and will it work? 800-288-9227. Let's ask my next guest, Kate Lincoln-Goldfinch. She is an immigration attorney, Lincoln-Goldfinch Law. What does this mean, Trump declaring a national emergency? Is this going to affect me and the guy listening at all?
So I think what we're going to see is that the Trump administration is going to start pulling in military resources to apprehend undocumented migrants all over the United States. And they'll be taken into detention centers or deportation camps that will be stood up, and they will be detained temporarily, and many of them deported without due process rights, without having a lawyer, going before a judge. And I think the thing that a lot of people may not consider, if there's not a particular immigrant or immigrant family that you're concerned about, is the ripple effect that this will have on the overall economy and also on the people who are, employ a lot of these workers or whose houses are built by them or whose restaurants they attend. So I think that there will be a massive impact of these apprehensions and deportations that maybe people aren't considering at this point.
Who says that they're not considering it? Because I'm under the understanding that if we do take a lot of these people who are employed in some of these lower skilled jobs, that the cost to rehire natives is going to be higher than that. And yeah, so the price at the restaurant may go up a little bit, or the price to get your lawn mowed may go up a little bit. But that looks like we are finding a way to raise the wages of the lowest income in the population, lowest income people, the lower class.
I think the thing that people don't often consider is that we actually have a gap in labor in our economy on really all levels of the skill spectrum, but particularly in the labor level. So when we're talking about the low-level jobs of the factory workers, the meat processing plants, agricultural work, gardening work, landscaping, construction, that a massive shift in that sector is going to really detrimentally impact the overall economy and the people who rely on all of those things, which is all of us. So I think it's short-sighted to think, oh, well then, wages might go up in other ways. I mean, economic studies don't really support it, that it's not a zero-sum game like that with immigrant labor, but I think the thing that is not being discussed is the need in our economy for immigrant labor. We have not only do we need, sort of these low skilled labor jobs filled, but we also have an aging baby boomer population exiting the workforce, and we're not replacing the workforce at the same rate. And on top of that, as we have our baby boomers aging, we have people who need a lot of care. And we have, jobs for people who care for the elderly. So I think what my point is that the impact will be felt much more widely with all of us. And I think a lot of people are really not considering that. They're just thinking, well, okay, somebody's undocumented, they committed a crime and they need to go, and that's the end of that. But really the harm to all of us and the harm to the economy, I mean, if you're not moved by the humanitarian angle, that's fine, but the harm overall to this country is going to be massive if Trump actually, completes the plan of deporting the undocumented population, which really I think what would happen is that thousands of people will be caught up and deported, and then there will be lawsuits, and then the program will be blocked. And so I don't think ultimately at the end of the day, the whole undocumented population in the country is going to be apprehended and deported. It's not actually possible, but we will feel some effects from it depending upon how far they go.
Well, how do you explain a state like Maine? They are less than 2% Hispanic. They have almost no undocumented immigrants, and their economy seems to be doing just fine. They're still building houses. They still get their lawns mowed. They still have their old people being taken care of.
Well, I mean, I haven't studied the economics of Maine, but I have studied the economics of immigration and national economics of immigration. And what we're talking about is a national deportation scheme. We're not talking about something in Maine. So this is going to impact everybody in every state. And, for example, in states like Iowa, the legislature passes programs where children can work in factories and the companies can be indemnified from injuries to those children because labor is such an issue. Or states like Kansas are paying people $5,000 to come to the state and take jobs. So it's inaccurate. It's misleading to say, Maine doesn't have a labor issue. I can't speak to that, but I can tell you that nationally.
Well, then how do you know it's inaccurate? That's totally accurate. And people having incentives to go take some of these lower skilled jobs, that's a good thing. That means the poor among us, the lower skilled, are going to be making more money in the future. It'll just be Americans making the money. I just don't buy the fact that America would fall apart without illegal non-Americans flooding our country. And even if we do require, a more immigrant population to help out with some of these jobs, why can't they just be legal? Why can't we kick out the illegal ones and just replace them with legal ones? We have a waiting list of like 13 years for people to get in from Mexico. How about we use some of those people who have followed the system, followed the rules, paid the time, done the forms, and and reward them instead of the people who skipped them?
So what you're arguing for is actually an expansion of immigration, which
yes.
I think is wise. It's right. But we're not seeing that. That's not on the table. Congress isn't discussing an expansion of immigration. So what we have is... That
doesn't make it not a good idea?
It does make it not a good idea. What I'm saying is the impact on our economy is going to be awful. And we're being short-sighted right now by saying, people are undocumented, let's just get rid of them. We don't have an alternative solution.
How is that short-sighted?
To serve our because our economy will suffer. We will all suffer.
No, you say that, but when we've had mass deportations in the past, and our economy did just fine. In the 50s, when we had Operation Wetback, I'm sorry, that's what it was legally called, we didn't have any ripple effects to the economy.
Listen, we will have ripple effects on the economy.
They have to be illegal then. Do we just have to have illegal immigrants? We can't deport these people without illegal. Even legal immigrants not good enough. We have to have these illegal immigrants here or our economy dies. I don't buy it.
If we expand legal method, the solution to the immigration problem is actually so simple. This solution would solve the problems at the border. It would solve the issue of undocumented immigration. If we could stop pretending like immigrants are bad and we could get Congress to actually get together and say, what are the needs of our nation?
I don't think one person is pretending like illegal immigrants are bad. We're saying illegal immigrants are bad, and when you conflate them with legal immigrants, that's not doing anybody any favors, and I find that to be intellectually dishonest.
Then why don't we have a law supporting legal immigration that reflects the needs of our economy? Why don't we have expanded employment visa options? Why don't we have expanded family-based immigration options? We don't have laws that support legal immigration, yet we have jobs for immigrants.
Then why don't we advocate for that instead of letting the illegal system run amok?
Great.
I think
I wish everyone would. I wish we could all get together, all of us on all sides, and say we want legal immigration that supports our needs.
I'll stand with you on that if you say, okay, if we get that, then I will support mass deportations of illegals. Would you be okay with mass deportations of illegals under those circumstances?
No, I can no.
Well, I appreciate you sticking with it. It was a spirited debate. Thank you very much for coming on. Kate Lincoln-Goldfinch Law. She's an immigration attorney.